doing that, I want people in the chat. If you're in the chat, I want you to tell me how hard do you think Athing Mu is going in this 400? 1 to 10. 1 being a complete jog, 10 being all out. I just want to see if my number matches up with our listeners. How hard do you think Athing Mu was running in that quarter? Because she was cruising along there. They talked about on the broadcast she didn't get a good start. She won her heat though, 51.04, which would have also won heat 2, but heat 3 there were 3 women who ran quicker than that. But it looked like a comfortable prelim. Looked like she was cruising through. I know she tweeted afterwards that she's going back to the 800, which Athing Mu must have her phone right next to her, because again, I'm watching her on TV and then I'm refreshing Twitter and then all of a sudden I see, yup, I'm going back to the 8. And I said, what? I just saw you. How did you get to your phone that quickly? The folks carrying the little bags around in Eugene with the clothes in them and the personal property, the athletes must be moving at Olympic trials level quality already, because they got Athing Mu her stuff very quickly. Did you think, I see some 6s, some 5 or 6. DC Knoll says she has 2 seconds in the tank. Why do you think she's saying she's going to go back to the 8? Just because that was painful, or just because she didn't enjoy the start, the first 200?
I think because she probably didn't enjoy it, maybe. And I do also know that, I mean, she's not entered in the 800 at the trials. I mean, excuse me. She's not entered in the 400 at the trials. The deadline passed. Her name is not on the list. So she's not even giving herself a safety net of doing the 400. She's 100% only doing the 800 at the trials unless she can get on a late ad by calling USATF. But apparently it's kind of hard to do, as Eric Holt, one of the distance runners, has been tweeting out that it's very hard to enter your time for the Olympic trials for some reason. I'm not sure if you saw that, but he says it's harder to just the hardest thing about qualifying for the Olympic trials is just submitting your time onto the website, apparently. Anyway, but
customer service.
I mean, I think she just, she's done the 400 a lot now. I mean, think about it. She's done it. She ran it 4 times. She's already run a open 400 probably like 6 to 10 times. Plus, when you include the 4x4 splits, she's probably like sick of just doing 1 lap. She wants to start doing 2 laps. I mean, let's bring up her T-First page and count the number of 400 versus 800 she's run. I'm going to bring up her T-First.
While we do that, I like Brooks' analysis here in the chat. He says a 7 out of 10 for the first 350 and then a solid 2 to 3 on the last 50. Gregory says she tripped out of the blocks, kind of. I didn't see. It was hard to see from where I was watching why the start was bad precisely. I didn't catch a replay if they had it. But there you see her season in review.
Yeah.
A lot of 4x4s. They've been doing a good job mixing it up.
But if she ran the 4x4 today, she will have run a 400 20 times, and she's run an 800 1, 2, 3, 4 times. She's run a 400 20 times and an 800 4 times. That's a big difference. Typically 800-meter runners don't do that. They don't run 20 400s and 4 800s. It's a little. Normally they run like 6 800s, 3 1500s, and maybe 2 400s or something like that. I don't know. I'm not a coach.
Typically, 800-meter runners don't run 49 point though, and don't break the collegiate record in the 400. I think we need to start discussing her as a one-of-one type of athlete. So she's on to the final. Apparently she's anchoring the 4x4 as we're recording. So if someone in the chat wants to give live play-by-play of how that anchor looks, I think she's going to enjoy the anchor more. No blocks, running start, can chase people. Relays are fun.
Yeah. But it's kind of, I mean, this whole 20 400s and only 4 800s, she's going to have 2 more 400s. So she's going to go into the Olympic trials running 22 400s, 4 800s, and she's going to be focused on, it's like, that's got to mean something, do you think, when it comes to her Olympic trials chances, where like
Mm-hmm.
We're putting a lot of like clout in just a small sample size of 800-meter running when you think about it, right?
I like it more than if those numbers were reversed. It makes
Okay.
me think she's going to do even better than if she had run 2800s and only 400s, because they're limiting the amount of time she's running the race. She made the comment about it's for speed work, so she's staying sharp. Mentally, she's going to go in the race with the idea that she hasn't even scratched the surface this season. I mean, when she ran that 157, it was a negative split 60-57 where she blew everybody away. Imagine if she gets into a final where Aja Wilson pushes the pace from the gun and she can just go along for the ride. I think they've done a good job managing her races. Indoors, I thought it was an interesting decision just because of the issues with getting to the pole position and how big of a difference that made. But outdoors, I don't think you can quibble with any of the decisions that they've made in terms of getting her ready to run fast at the trials.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, you'll know the hardest part of the entire Olympic trials for Athing Mu is going to be the second 400 of the second 800. If that makes sense. So because the first two 800s are back.
Track analysis here. This is high
The first
level
two 800
track analysis. What? Explain.
It's 3 rounds of an 800. The first two 800s are back-to-back days. So it's that second 800 coming off of back-to-back days. We're in that, and it's the second 400 of that second 800. That's when we're going to find out. Because if she's going to look, she'll be fine in the prelim, right? But then the second one where there's a little bit of fatigue in the legs, just ran a hard 800. And if it goes out slow and you don't know what's happening, things can happen. I'm just saying that's when you'll know if she's got it in that second 800, the second 400, or the second 800. That's where everyone will have it. Whoever. I don't know what I'm saying.
So that's.
I do know what I'm saying, but
I like what you're saying because it's the level of granular thinking that you put into track and field. It may not be true at all, but I like that you agreed to say it. 50.9 on the split. 50.9 on the split, according to folks in the chat. If you're just now joining us, feel free to comment on the chat. I know people are coming to tune in right after the meet ended, so consider this the post-game show. By the way, the Bucks won, Gordon. Just went
did they really?
The Bucks win. The Bucks won by 3 points over the New Jersey Nets.
Look at that score.
Very ugly game. We can talk about that more later. But someone brought it up in the chat.
Speaking of one side NBA thing before we keep on going, we're doing this podcast live tomorrow during the meet. And the meet starts at 7 Central Time. The Sixers game starts at 6:30 Central Time. So basically, you're going to be able to live witness my emotional reactions to a Sixers game while watching a track meet at the same time. It's going to be it's going to be entertainment for you, Kevin. It won't be entertainment for me because I'll be stressed as hell. But for those I've been following the pod, I'm going to be a little all over the place tomorrow.
You're going to be trailing off. You're just going to be like, hey, what? Who? What happened? My son really likes Trae Young, and I needed him to stop that. So I'm on your side, I guess, for the short term. Okay, are you ready to present your updated women's team projections?
Oh, am I ready?
You said you were going to do that while we talked about Athing Mu. We had an Athing Mu aside. You started talking about the most important 150 is the 6th 150 in the semifinal or something.